Hello, welcome to the start of Side 2. And now we return to local news and it's sport with Joan.
And I've been asked to read about rugby. Of course, that's not because I'm Welsh, but I won't say any more about that. The headline I'm asked to read is Visitors Bag Priceless Points. Ignatian's Battle to Hammersmith Draw. Enfield Ignatians rescued a 22-22 draw at Hammersmith and Fulham on Saturday in London 2 Northwest. Hammersmith and Fulham had beaten the visitors in 5 prior league and cup attempts. The dangerous West Londoners showed their pedigree by landing 2 first-half tries, which enabled them to take a 12-11 lead. However, Ignatians kept in touch after 2 successful Dan McDermott penalties and a quality try-out wide from winger Robert Rigby. It was indicative of the pressure that the visitors were exerting that Hammersmith and Fulham had 2 players sent to the sin bin. Ignatians failed to capitalise on their numerical superiority, and it looked ominous in the second half when Hammersmith and Fulham lived up to their pedigree as a dangerous attacking side by collecting a further 2 tries to pull 10 points clear. Refusing to be beaten, Ignatians cranked up the pressure. They got within 7 points after rifling over a penalty, and better was to follow when they won another penalty and drilled the ball to the corner. Jack Wilson's pinpoint kick set up a tremendous field position 5 metres out, and the collective force of the blue and gold pack did the rest as the visitors engineered a pushover score to move within 3 points. Ignatians continued to chase the game. They were initially unsuccessful in a further catch and drive attempt, but the upshot was the winning of a penalty in front of the sticks. And the visitors duly potted the sitter to bag 2 priceless league points after an entertaining draw. Enfield now take a break from league action this weekend. Their next league match is against unbeaten side Woodford at Donkey Lane on October the 24th. The Seconds claimed a 22-8 victory over Harrow Schools in Herts Middlesex Merit Table 2.
In football, Cockfosters paid the price for a slow start as they slumped to a 3-1 defeat at home to AFC Dunstable in the Spartan Premier Division on Saturday. A quirk in the fixture list led to Cockfosters facing the unbeaten league leaders for the second successive weekend, with the 2 sides having played out a 1-1 draw 7 days earlier. But Dunstable took complete control in the early stages of this match, with goals from Terry Griffiths, BJ Christie and Josh Humbert putting them 3-0 up inside the first 30 minutes. Ben Hart gave the hosts some hope by pulling a goal back prior to the interval, and Jamie Brandon had a shot cleared off the line early in the second half as they piled on the pressure, but Dunstable held firm to seal victory. We started really slowly, manager Dean Barker admitted. You can't concede 3 goals inside 30 minutes against a team as good as Dunstable and expect to get anything out of the game. They're unbeaten and top of the league for a reason. We played pretty well after that, and the goal just before half-time gave us a bit of a chance. If Jamie had managed to score then, we might have got something out of the game. Cockfosters face another tough test on Saturday when they take the trip to a London Colney side who are also still unbeaten in the league. The fixture list hasn't been too kind to us, Barker said, but you've got to play against these teams at some point. We've generally competed well against the best sides so far this year, and we've got nothing to lose. We'll go out there with no pressure and hopefully put on a good performance. Cockfosters following Saturday's match by visiting Oxley Jets on Tuesday at 7:45pm.
And now some more football news from Enfield Town. Brad Quinton described taking Enfield Town into the fourth qualifying round of the FA Cup for the first time in the club's history as one of the highlights of his managerial career. The Towners were trailing 1-0 at the half-time in the replay at Hitchin Town, but a superb second-half performance turned the tie around to clinch a 2-1 win and took them within one victory of the first round proper. Quinton, whose side drew 0-0 in Saturday's first match, said, "It was an amazing night for everyone at the club. The atmosphere was unbelievable, and it is up there as one of the greatest moments I've had as a manager. Everyone is buzzing, and you have to enjoy nights like these. We have put in the hard work, and now we are getting the rewards for it." He added, "The fans gave us a fantastic following. Nights like this are what we strive for, and hopefully there's more to come." Hitchin made a bright start to Monday's replay and almost opened the scoring through Johnny McManara, but his powerful strike rebounded off the crossbar. The hosts were rewarded with the opening goal after 40 minutes when McManara teed up Robbie Burns and fired home from the close range. But Quinton's side kept their belief and produced a dominant performance after the break to keep their cup dreams intact. The equaliser came in the 65th minute when Harry Ottaway found himself in space and he drilled the ball into the net. The Towners kept pushing forward and were rewarded with the winner 12 minutes from time when Claudio Viltu fired in off the bar. Quinton said, "It was a great performance in the second half when we took it by the scruff of the neck. Every single player was tremendous and we thoroughly deserved the victory. Enfield's reward is a trip to Chesham United in the next round Saturday, October 24th. The manager said, "I know their manager Andy Lees very well. The boys are really looking forward to it. It's a fantastic achievement and we hope that we can go one step further." Enfield are unbeaten in their last 10 matches and return to Ryman Premier Division action at home to mid-table Staines Town on Saturday. But Quinton is adamant his players will not lose any focus on their league campaign with the big cup tie on the horizon. He said, "There is no way they will take their eye off the priority, which is the league. We want to keep our run going." And now we're going to entertainment news with Joan, who's going to tell us something about Tom Jones, I think.
I will. Here's Tom's song from the shed. It was busier than usual at Chicken Shed last week, as singers from the theatre prepared for a performance with Tom Jones, Sir Tom Jones, and actors made ready for the opening of a new show called Two, spelled T-W-O. A cast of 17 young performers, aged 7 to 13, were chosen to perform with the Welsh legend as part of the One Big Night concert at Wembley Arena last Thursday, after carrying out rehearsals in secret. They sang 4 songs at the event, which was hosted by Bob Brydon and recorded for transmission next month as part of the annual BBC Children in Need appeal. Chicken Shed spokeswoman Susan Jameson said, "As you can imagine, everyone at Chicken Shed is hugely honoured and very proud to have been asked to take part in this fabulous concert. Children in Need are brilliant and support us every year, so this is really exciting." The night of music and entertainment paid affectionate tribute to Sir Tom's remarkable career so far. He says, I hope this night of entertainment will not only be a fantastic experience of those who see the Children in Need screening, but will also go on to help disadvantaged children and young people right here in the UK who really do need our help. Chicken Shed, based in Southgate, is an inclusive theatre company and charity which relies on donations so it can continue to create theatre for all ages and run successful approach projects, education courses, outreach projects, membership programs. Its latest production, 2, sees the studio theatre transform into a 1989 pub thanks to the George in Enfield, which has donated most of the set. Susan says, the atmosphere and ambience are totally Enfield. We approached the local pub to tell them our ideas for 2, and they were happy to donate the furniture to turn our studio theatre into a typical 1980s establishment. Authentic, atmospheric, snug, and with a whiff of sale beer and poke scratchings. What more can we ask? The immersive version of Jim Cartwright's multi-award winning play features 14 diverse characters, including the landlord and lady who harbour a dark secret, and they are all portrayed by just 2 of Chicken Shed's professional actors. One big night concert took place at the SSE Arena, Wembley, last Thursday. It will transmit prime time on BBC One during the week of the annual BBC Children in Need appeal, which takes place on Friday, November 13th. 2, the programme is on at Chicken Shed, Chayside, Southgate until October the 24th. And you can have details by phoning 0208 292 9222, chickenshed.org.uk on your computer. I repeat the last information. The details are available from 0208 292 9222 and online Chicken Shed, all lowercase, chickenshed.org.uk. No dot.
Oversexed, overpaid, and over here is how American servicemen garrisoned in military camps in wartime Britain were frequently described. It's a little-known fact, but the thousands of US troops arriving on UK shores were issued with a special instruction manual by the American War Office to prepare them for the strange country that awaited them, so they'd better understand the curious customs, etiquette and eccentricities of the Brits. Designed to save the unsophisticated GIs from gaffes, Instructions for American Servicemen in Britain is the subject of a comedy play of the same name being staged at Finchley's Arts Depot next Thursday, October the 22nd. The handy guide was a mine of helpful advice for the troops with tips such as, apologies to all Americans, it isn't a good idea to say bloody in mixed company in Britain. It's one of their worst swear words. The British don't know how to make a good cup of coffee. You don't know how to make a good cup of tea. It's an even swap. Or, don't be misled by the British tendency to be soft-spoken and polite. They can be plenty tough. The English language didn't spread across the oceans and over the mountains and jungles of the world because these people were panty wastes. Theatre company Fol Espoir has teamed up with sketch company trio The Real MacGuffins, whose credits include Miranda, Radio 4's Sketchorama and Lee Nelson's Well Funny People, to create a nostalgic and whimsical production which lovingly pokes fun at British eccentricities and the American troops who try to understand them. It revolves around a training session as a crack team of experts attempt to give newly arrived GIs a crash course in the way of their hosts. I stumbled upon the instructions in Waterstones a few years ago, and I've been wanting to make a show based on them ever since, said the play's director John Walton. They're such an endearing and loving snapshot of the country at a unique moment in its history. At the same time, they just seem perfect for comic exploration.
Fantastic. Now here's a list of where to go and when in the near future. Thursdays, crochet skills with Crafty KV. 40 Hall, 40 Hill, Enfield. Workshop from 2 p.m. Bring your own crochet hook. There's some measurements in the brackets that I couldn't possibly do any justice to. But bring your own crochet hook and double knitting yarn. Tickets are £10 to book www.40hallestate.co.uk or call 0208 363 8196. Next is Ballet Black at the Millfield Theatre, Silver Street, Edmonton, 7:45 on Thursday. Triple bill of works by Kit Holder, Birmingham Royal Ballet, and Will Tuckett from the Royal Ballet, featuring choreography and Mark Bruce's Second Coming. Tickets are £16 or £15 concessions. Box office is 0208 807 6680. Thursdays and Fridays, the Holy and Horny Farewell Tour at the Dugdale Centre, London Road, Enfield Town, 7:45 p.m. It's a one-woman show written and performed by Tonya Joy Bolton. Tickets are £16 or £14 concessions. And again, you can call the box office 0208 807 6680. Thursday to Saturday and Monday to Wednesday, which doesn't really appear to leave a lot out, but anyway, 2, which you've just heard Joan talking about. Chicken Shed Theatre, Chaseside, Southgate, 7:30 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. on Saturdays. 2 actors portray 14 diverse characters in this adaptation of Jim Cartwright's 1989 drama. It continues until October 24th. Tickets are £12, £8 concessions, and the box office is 0208 292 9222. Fridays, Islands in the Stream, which you probably all know the words to. Millfield Theatre, Silver Street, Edmonton, 7:45 p.m. And you guessed right, it is the Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers story. Celebrates some of the country music's greatest hits. Tickets are £22. Box office 0208 807 6680. Saturdays, the Boney M Show at Millfield Theatre, Silver Street, Edmonton, 7:45, starring Sheila Bonick. Tickets are £22. Box office 0208 807 6680. And following on from that is King Pleasure and the Biscuit Boys at the Dugdale Centre, London Road, Enfield Town, 7:45. Tickets are £15. Box office 0208 807 6680. And finally, on Sundays, you can meet the embroiderers at 40 Hall, 40 Hill, Enfield from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Members of the Enfield and District Embroiderers Guild explain the inspiration behind their work. So, now it's back over to local news with Joan.
And now we have information about a Greens racetrack starting in Enfield. With this information, it's also quite well illustrated of one picture of the London Assembly member Darren Johnson and Adrian Lachlan of Enfield's cycling campaign coordinator, leading their way from Enfield Town Station to join what I'm about to read to you. What happens? A car brushes past a cyclist, missing him by inches, as the driver tries to squeeze through the pinch point between a traffic island and a pavement at the same time as the bike. Behind a group of cyclists in high visibility green jackets, and every few seconds as the roads are wet, it's the tail end of rush hour in Enfield on last Tuesday. The cyclists are showing Darren Johnson, the London Assembly member who chairs the Environment Committee at City Hall, the proposed route for the Cycle Enfield scheme in Enfield town and on to green lanes through Winchmore Hill and Palmer's Green. Setting out from Enfield Town Railway Station, the group have to cross 2 lanes of fast-moving traffic to get into the right lane to progress west along Cecil Road. Once on the road, the confusion over where cyclists should currently ride becomes apparent, with parking, traffic islands, lay-bys on the left, the cyclists grouped together to ride over the bumpy and potholed road, dodging cars and traffic islands, while drivers pass rush and only go inches to the right. Adrian Lachlan, Enfield's London Cycling Campaign Coordinator, is leading the riders through the town's one-way system and explaining the plans to Mr. Johnson. He says that residents are worried about the plans to turn Cecil Road into a two-way street, citing their concerns that HGVs turning into the back of Palace Gardens will create long tailbacks and choke gardens with diesel and exhaust fumes. Added Mr. Lachlan, mind you, at the minute this road is like a racetrack, which is itself dangerous for residents. The group cross a lane of traffic again, waiting for a break in the fast-flowing line of double-decker buses and lorries, and try to turn right into the counterflow system back through the town, a tricky manoeuvre for one cyclist, let alone 10. Once safely back at Enfield Town Station, Mr. Johnson revealed that were he a novice cyclist, he would not feel comfortable riding through the town. Once safely back at Enfield Town Station, Mr. Johnson revealed that were he a novice cyclist, he would not feel comfortable riding through the town. He said, "I can see why there is such a low cycling turnout at the minute in this borough," he said. "But there is so much potential for Enfield to be a nice place for everyone. Cyclists, pedestrians, traders. If only the town was not such a racetrack for cars who use the town as a way to get through." Good luck.
People of all faiths and none will unite together and volunteer for Mitzvah Day 2015. The Times and Independent series is an official sponsor of the National Good Deeds Day, which will be held on Sunday, November the 22nd. Teams of volunteers across North London have already signed up to help, and we want to encourage more people to do the same. This year, the project's theme is refugees and asylum seekers, and volunteers will collect and deliver food and make new arrivals feel welcome in the UK. Many of these projects will be multi-faith mitzvah days, seeing Jewish groups work in unison with Muslims, Christians, Hindus and those of others or no faith. Mitzvah Days Interfaith Chairman Daniela Pears said, "This is an issue close to the heart of the Jewish community. We've had so many inquiries from synagogues and communities asking how they can help." Last year, Mitzvah Day reached 37,000 volunteers from all age groups and all parts of the community. It also gave us an opportunity to come together with our neighbours to work on projects. Everyone involved in Mitzvah Day had a fulfilling, purposeful and enjoyable experience, sharing a mutual passion for social action. Mitzvah Day also encourages communities to invite their MPs and councillors to their projects. Projects for refugees and asylum seekers are listed on the project pages of the Mitzvah Day website, www.mitzvahday.org.uk/all-projects.html. Communities and charities wishing to take part in Mitzvah Day should email info@mitzvah-day.org.uk or call 0203 747 9960. Those wishing to donate clothing and other goods to refugees should contact a relevant charity directly via the website www.supportrefugees.org.uk.
A new film about women's struggle to gain the vote hit the big screen this week, but Enfield residents may be unaware that areas of the borough were a hotbed of activism for the suffragette movement. The film Suffragette is a period drama featuring Oscar winner Meryl Streep as Emmeline Pankhurst, the leader of the suffragette movement. At the height of the campaign in 1910, her sister Mary Clark died unexpectedly at their brother Herbert Brownridge at Golden's home in Winchmore Hill, just days after she'd been released from Holloway Prison. She had organised the Women's Social and Political Union branch in Brighton and was involved in a window-breaking campaign in the Sussex seaside town. She was imprisoned in Holloway in North London, during which time she was force-fed and was released on December 22nd, 1910. She was given a celebratory luncheon at the Criterion restaurant in Piccadilly and went to stay with her brother in Radcliffe Road. She died on Christmas Day, and her funeral was held at New Southgate Cemetery in Brunswick Park Road in January 1911. According to the Recorder newspaper, which at the time covered Palmer's Green, Winchmore Hill and Southgate, her coffin was covered with wreaths, including one bearing an inscription with her last words, "I gladly pay the price of freedom." Campaigners for votes for women did not always have an easy time in Enfield, and the Recorder also reported that Mr. Golden, a former secretary of the Winchmore Hill Ratepayers Association, was attacked, and one lady roughly handled, while a group of local suffragettes tried to hold a meeting at Palmer's Green Triangle in June 1914. The newspaper said the incident was a sufficiently unpleasant one for the suffragettes, and, but for the intervention of the police, would probably have been more exciting. Mr. Golden's hat was knocked off in the melee, and a crowd, mainly made up of young men, recognised him and closed in on him. He was knocked down and was later escorted to the Fox Tavern in Fox Lane before making off on a tram. But he was pursued, and a large crowd gathered in Winchmore Hill, with some of them hurling eggs through an open window at his home. Covered with flour, he took refuge in the Station Road home of the Magistrate Councillor Willis. The newspaper reported, although it was something rather more lively than the scenes to which staid and respectable Palmer's Green is accustomed, suffragettes had been howled down when they had tried to hold a meeting the previous week. Women aged over 30 got the vote in 1918, 40% of the female population, and in 1928 the vote was extended to all women over the age of 21. We have reached the end of our programme for this week. Thank you for listening. So, from the team of
Joan
and
Caroline,
with Colin on the controls, it's goodbye.
Goodbye.